meeting to order for the Groton Traffic Authority. It was at 1:32. So roll call on Chief LJ Pizarro. Here. I am also here. As well. We also have in attendance Public Works Director Greg Hanover, Chief Maslowski, Brian Kent for the bike route, right? And I do think we have Sergeant Joel Wenda coming to our traffic. So the first item of business is the approval of the August 18th minutes. Make a motion to approve. Second. In favor. Right.
We want to move the third item up to
Yeah.
the next item, or where you're at the beginning.
Okay, that's great.
So this is this request from Bike Groton, Bike Stonington for a letter supporting bicycle safety modifications to the Mystic Vascular Bridge. And with us is Brian Kent, the president of Bike Groton. Just as by way of background, and I think you're aware of this, but to put this on the record, the traffic authority does not have authority over state roads, which includes the Vascular Bridge. That's a state road, but I think what you were requesting is some support or endorsement from us.
Right, we understand that. And so hello, I'm Brian Kent. I'm a Groton resident, 101 Prospect Field Road, and have been the president of Bike Groton for a couple of years. And we are advocating for improvements to both town roads, local roads, and advocating for improvements to state roads. We understand the jurisdictional issues here, and we began this process by addressing the Department of Transportation through a letter which you have a copy of. And the response from them was, well, this is not something that we're prepared to look at in any detail at this time. We haven't been presented with information that we think is really applicable. So our second pathway was to talk to our elected representatives, and we had a consultation with Senator Summers, and Senator Summers advised us to meet with our local traffic authorities and to explain to them what the issue is and what we are asking for, and to ask each authority to submit a letter of support if they agree to the Department of Transportation in support of this, and that could form the basis of an engineering study. So we understand that nothing will happen until the department conducts a thorough engineering study and determines for themselves that this is something that is feasible, that is safe, that is compatible with that historic bridge. So we don't expect that the traffic authority is going to write a letter and that is going to be instrumental in making a change, but we understand that is necessary and is desirable for both communities that this bridge occupies to express some support. So it's kind of like that's where we start. We start with communities, host communities saying we think this is okay, and then it works its way up the chain. So we know that this is not going to be something that happens overnight. So what I'm going to do is show you images of the bridge and then show you generally what we're suggesting. So this is the existing condition of the.
And these are the photos that are contained in the packet, which is available online.
These are actually a little better, more close up, some high resolution. So I'll be submitting these to you. So this is the existing condition of the bridge. The issue is that this open metal grate is very tricky to ride a bicycle over if you're not an experienced cyclist, especially when it's wet. and even more especially if you're riding a bicycle with narrow tires, because they are directed by all of the perforations and the texture of this. It moves your wheel involuntarily. Now, those of us that are really experienced cyclists, we ride down these 12-inch wide concrete strips, but that is not what a visitor to Mystic who's riding around town for the first time is prepared to do. So we also know that there is no snow plowing on the bridge. So the department plows up to the bridge, they lift the blade, and they drive across the bridge. You know, the snow goes through the blade, and it doesn't accumulate on the strips apparently to the extent that it is of any issue whatsoever. So let's see. So this is an aerial view of the bridge. And you can see, you know, the different pattern strips of the pathway of a cyclist. If they had a smoother path, it would be right along the outside. The bridge itself is 32 feet. Let me just explain it to you. So the bridge is 32 feet and change from curb to curb. Your average two-lane roadway that is widest is 20 feet. And so we have at least 8 feet to deal with. That is outside of ordinary roadways. The State Department of Transportation has been striping their repaving projects at 11 foot lengths. So the kind of the typical minimum two-lane roadway is 22 feet wide. So we have quite a bit of surplus space on either side. And most of you have probably driven across the bridge when the DOT had a truck parked on the curb line for maintenance, and there is still room to pass without crossing the side. So there is, I think without question, enough space on that edge on both sides that there could be a dedicated lane for bicycles. And through our research, we found that there are a couple of products that are designed for this very purpose. They are lightweight panels that are bolted to the metal deck, and they are perforated so that water can drain through them, and so that they have a textured surface. And they have beveled edges, and so they can be attached to the bridge without a burden of weight and without attraction risk. And since there's no snow plowing on the bridge anyways, they're not being hit by snow plowing. So that's what we're advocating for. So that would entail, DOT would be tasked with preparing an engineering study. They would research the materials. So they would talk to the manufacturers, so they would do a thorough study, and then they would come back with a recommendation.
You're not looking for wholesale change with metal braiding.
No.
This add.
This is a plate. There's a high density rubber plastic material, and then there's a aluminum material perforated that can be attached to the screws. And this has been done. We've identified similar types of drawbridges where these products have been installed. in the northern class, New York City, and Chicago, in the southern parts of the world. The same sort of material has been employed, so there is a record of its use. One of the issues is it's never been done in Connecticut, and the Connecticut DOT historically takes a very cautious approach to doing anything that is not standard in their operating procedures. And also that this is a very special bridge. This is a 100-year-old special bridge, so that people are concerned about altering, and that's a valid concern. That's what it is.
Now, the amount of, the perforations, does that change the amount of permeable surface between the grates and that covering? Does that affect snow? Or you said it allows snow, but does it affect the rate or the amount that can go through so that it would?
It's not going to be as, it's not going to be anywhere near as open as the metal grate is today. So there's, I would say it's probably that snow would build up on it. So then that I mean, that is an issue. I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't think that it would ever actually drop on slip on the way on.
Question I do see a letter from Chief Del Grosso. I assume that you've already presented this to the town of Stonington, to their police commission.
That's correct.
How did that, and did they agree?
They endorsed it, and they told us that they have sent a letter to the department. I don't,
But they informed you, at least verbally, that they endorsed it. Right?
It's the DOT job for snow or anything else, so it's not really my concern. I mean, I'm all up for doing a study. It'd be great if they could do it. Yeah.
is it both directions, right? Yes. How wide is the 4 feet?
What kind of bike do you ride?
Road bike. I ride a gravel bike. I ride a mountain bike. I ride a fat tire bike in the sun.
We should talk
Is
after.
there anything I can?
I'm asking what, you know,
I've actually met you on the trail.
have we? Okay. I'm sympathetic to that because I know exactly what you're talking about. I rode a bike race once where a guy hit a bridge like that, fell, broke his arm, messed up pretty bad. So I'm sympathetic.
I mean, for you and I, we would hit the country strip and
And stay on it.
I mean, I rode across it 4 times yesterday. So I rode my bike to work and I had some errands at CVS.
Yeah,
it's
you
no
hit that metal grate.
But on the mellow, if you're not paying attention, it can be really dangerous. And so my colleague in Stonington, who's president of the it's been more of an issue from her point of view because there's like more bike rental, like the bike shop. It's just like a center's over there. They get people coming in there and renting bikes. There's more cycling activity on that side than there is on the Groton side. So for them, it's an ever-present problem. And you know, as it should be for us to share.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. Thanks
See you on the trails again soon.
Yeah, thank you.
There's been no good excuse not to be out there lately.
I know. No.
Other than my honeydew list needs to be completed first. Thanks. Thank you. We'll go back to the regular order of this agenda. The next item is 22-670, discussion of Laurelwood Road speeding. Jeannie, I know you had some information on
I
that.
did. I was speaking with property owner concerned with speed. She lives on 81 Laurelwood. So Sergeant Linda set up well, she first wanted speed bumps. I said, not gonna happen. I did suggest possibly a center line. We did the results, I sent her the results. I have not heard back from her since I sent her the results. But I wanted to leave it on the agenda to see if she does come back. Can I strongly suggest a center line, or we can just let it sort of die away, and if and when she does come back. But since she got the results, I haven't heard back.
Maybe, Joel, can you speak? Did you have the results in front of you?
I do.
You can speak to them and just kind of, for the record, since we're being recorded right now, maybe you can just describe what those indicate.
See, The study was done from September 23rd, 2022 to October 1st, 2022. And the overall tolerance issue, that it showed a low overall speeding issue on the road. However, there are a certain percentage of people that do travel at a considerable speed on the road, but the overall traffic was low. So we were planning on setting up one of our speed signs. We're only talking about a limited number of people. It'd be difficult for an officer to be down there. It's very specific time frames. Typically, it's the morning and evening rush. You're only looking at a few violators. So we were looking at trying to put the digital sign down there. The one that I wanted to put down there was broken, and we just got it back. So I'm hoping to get it up soon. So I didn't want to put one of the brand new ones down there because those are better off in other busier sections of town.
I'd be satisfied with that being the first course of action. I don't know how painting may not, maybe that's a second, see how this goes. And
Right. This road, it's a residential access road. It's not one of these.
Dead end.
It's a dead end road. It's a residence on the road.
Yeah.
Now it's got brand new pavement. Typically, you see an increase in speed after that happens. So.
It's bumpier.
I'm good. Okay, and that's with the, of course, and we can communicate that to her. Obviously, Sergeant Leonard's been paying attention. And you met with her, right?
No,
You did not? Okay.
no, I would just have phone conversations with her. And we do put the secretive one up first so that people don't
Right.
see the speed. We want to know truly how we're going to drive without it flashing.
Let's do this. Why don't you also, Joel, assign someone to go down there, just to meet with her and discuss this. You can do it yourself. You can assign somebody else, just, the context of our conversation, what we're looking to right now.
Okay.
How long do you keep those signs up?
The digital signs. So the new ones that we just got, they've been up for quite a while, months. Then I have smaller ones that don't have the solar. Those, depending on the traffic, I change out the batteries. So depending on the need for it, like all the ones that are right now have been in place for months. One reason, because there were issues in those areas, and to make the residents happy. And we were dealing with lower manpower, so it was hard to get officers down in those spots. So they've been up a little bit longer. But it's more, I kind of just, like right now, I think there's need to start changing them out in different locations. Because there's a lot of areas that people are asking for.
But typically they're up for like 4 days to a week, and then sometimes 2 weeks.
What are we talking about?
How long do we keep them out on a road? Typically.
The digital ones that display, I'll leave them out for a while.
Yeah.
The covert one stays out for usually about a week.
So what we'll, as we get more people on the road, we've got people on FTO and also some coming out of the academy. The intent is to reinvigorate our traffic unit, so we'll have it staffed, we'll have an officer, at least one officer assigned to do that, we can do this kind of stuff too.
Right now, we've been trying to focus on our school zones and stuff like that.
Next item is the request discussion of speeding on Ring Drive in Indian Field. Engineer, I think you said that individuals are supposed to come if you want to.
Not that one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is the woman that reached out to the council. Joel did speak with her, and I think there's plans to put the speed sign up.
Could you, Sergeant Linda, could you tell us about that conversation? That was an individual who came to the town council meeting talking about speed in the area of Ring Drive, Indian Field Road, and 117, and you met with her, right?
Yes, I met with her the other night. We were talking about a lot, and we didn't touch on the 117 road issue. We focused our attention to her concerns on Indian Fields and Ring Drive. Everybody knows that's a cut through in the morning, in the afternoon for school. We did set up a speed sign on Boyer Road. Typically, they cut down that straight lane. It's still up right now. Her biggest concerns were speeding down the first entrance. If you're coming south down 117, they take the first entrance into Indian Field Road to U, and then they fly down to that corner. And her issues with that corner, it's very tight. There's a school bus stop right at that corner. And there are people that park on the backside of Indian Field, so it forces those cars coming out into the other lane a little bit. You have you'll have close calls at that corner. I lived in that neighborhood for a long time. I witnessed it myself. It is an issue. We did have a head-on there, I think last year, or the year before, I remember. But it's just a tight spot, and then with the parking issues and stuff. So she has witnessed a lot of issues with traffic there. So it's her main concerns were morning speeding, and then the tightness of that corner where people are almost hitting each other head on.
And did she offer any suggestions? Or did
She
come up with any?
she thought about, she wanted to make it one way, that whole road. I didn't think that would be feasible just because you have 3 access points to it. She also discussed speed humps, which we all know we feel about that right now. And then she also mentioned putting up signs for no through traffic on both ends, from the Ring Drive at once or Fort Hill, and then on the other side of both entrances to Indian Field Road. So I didn't know how.
Locals would already be used to using it.
Right. I think everybody that uses it as a cut through is used to using it. And,
Is that really small area?
So, well, yeah, I was gonna put that on the record. I'm also sympathetic to this because I did, on my way in one morning, did issue an infraction to an individual, a young man that was heading to school that was traveling through those roads. It was at a high rate of speed, not just there, but on other roadways here in Groton. So we got to meet and he did get a ticket from me. So that coming through the Ring Drive, up to Summit Park.
she also asked about maybe putting a center line on Indian Field Road, like a single center line to help traffic coming in both directions at that corner specifically to keep on their side. I don't know what the feasibility of that was, for sure, how wide it is.
Review on that grade.
The possible for short distance.
Yeah, we could look at that. Certainly that corner is very sharp because of the current standards. We would never allow it like that.
So authorize it if possible to.
I'd make a motion that ask the public works director to examine the feasibility of that.
And proceed at the table. Okay. Second.
So, and also just to, one thing that you pointed out, and it's the second time here, and I know that we may have people that watch this, as in my tenure on the traffic authority, and I believe that John's as well, since we've been concurrent, we've never approved any speed humps. There's a lot of downside to them. They're not an approved device to really stop speed. And what surveys tend to show is that where there are speed humps, people will end up speeding up between the two of them. So we haven't approved any that exist currently in the town of Groton were grandfathered in many years ago. So we prefer not to employ any more throughout the time.
Plus one on the budget for this committee.
Right. So the next item is the letter received from Jerry and Paul Berkel concerning parking and speeding.
That's in there. You had one conversation with them several months ago, and they submitted another letter after the last time we met. Wanted to put on there, just questioning the no parking areas on High Street, speeding on Pequot Avenue. A lot of walkers, a lot of pedestrians, bicyclists.
And we did close off parking in a couple spots previously to begin with on the hill. Right?
Yes, yep.
That's all
So he was questioning all that.
Now, we're parking on the west side.
So in the closing comment on this, I'll just read it. It says your speed is flashing signs, which the speed signs that we're talking about, now appear on Allen and High Streets. When can one be assigned to Pequot to determine whether I'm correct in my observations? We have a finite amount of these, and obviously we want to put them where they get the most benefit of them. I don't know if it's practical use of it there or not.
It wouldn't be practical for those there. I could put one of our temporary ones down there. And just switch out the batteries for a little while. So the ones that we just got they're not easy to set up. They take a little bit of time, they're heavy. So there's a lot of work involved with moving around. So those I try to leave stationary in the more active areas.
So would it be safe to say that at some point when we have one available, for the temporary ones, we might be able to consider putting one down there?
Yes.
Any more funding into this next budget year? Any more of those? Let's see.
We haven't, we spent them all on 6 we bought last year.
There's also the concern with an issue of where to mount them. Because I've run into some issues of we were using some utility poles.
Right.
Some companies don't like that. So then we have to look into mounting our own pole. So there wants to be a cost of that.
Yeah, most of these, the phone company and power companies do not like to utilize it. I saw that, so Sergeant Linda's pretty good about finding alternate locations to put these out, so. So in addition to the cost of the signs themselves, which is, several thousands of dollars, it's also the cost of maybe having to put some poles in.
Have a community service program, that's what it's called.
Have it stand on it, sure. But we'll, so as far as the verticals are concerned, we'll look at utilizing something down there in the future, but I hope, maybe some of our enforcement efforts coupled with the signs that are already on Allen and High Streets might help to mitigate this a little bit. Next item is old business. Is there any old business?
No old business.
New business, it looks like there's a request for a three-way stop sign at Flanders Road and No Lane Pleasure Road. And I think we've discussed something similar in the past.
Did, a couple of meetings ago, we had, the owner of the building at 1101 Knowing Pleasure Road was concerned about speeding people that are on Flanders Road turning on to Knowing Pleasure Road going so fast that people leaving their property have gotten hit or close to getting hit with the speed of the cars. We did put up a farm equipment sign to hopefully people realize there's a business up here, let's start slowing down. They indicate it's not really working. So now they're wondering if we would consider a three-way stop at Flanders Road and Knowing Pleasure Road. So now the people coming south on Flanders Road would have a stop sign at this intersection. So now all 3 people would have a stop sign. That's what she's hoping.
Any thoughts on that from you?
I don't think you've ever had a stop sign there.
No, it hasn't been.
There hasn't. This
I
is,
can see people flying through that.
and they do, yeah, because I do
There's
drive
a stop
that,
sign there.
and they do, they come, and they just keep flying. Because you
Make it less
see
cautious
what's going on.
than coming up there. But typically, we put new signs that you kind of flag it for a while, sign
do
it,
for a while.
yeah. But imagine we get some counters.
Some of their issues is they have a limited sight line looking to the north towards Flanders, and there's a bank with a stone wall, it's really their property. There's nothing we can really do, shoulder, people, property owner, there's no trees on the document.
What are your thoughts about former town engineer? Yeah, I see it's feasible for that.
It's worth looking at.
Yeah, would you be okay with that, sending somebody out to take a look at it, and just kind of do it?
Add a stop sign.
Yeah, see if it's feasible and
Report back next time.
right.
And that might be a good place for one of those signs.
Yeah, authorize it.
I don't think people realize just how fast they're going.
And let's authorize Greg to approve if it was warranted and feasible. and all that. That was a motion, a second.
Second. In favor? Aye. So just to round that out, the Public Works Director is going to direct a member of his staff to conduct an assessment of that area to determine whether it's feasible and necessary, and if found to be feasible and necessary, to implement. Well, we've given them approval to stop sign there if it's appropriate. Item number 23-121, no parking, a request for no parking on London Road, north of 51 High Street, Mystic.
Yeah, and they were going to attend, but they got called away on a family emergency. She did submit today.
I can read that.
Sure, Greg might know, this is Paige Goodlick. She,
You know,
okay, so now they're looking for some no parking on New London Road, the north side of their property.
There was some existing parking areas on gravel along the front of their property. They recently purchased a house, they did some improvements. They actually paved, we had them pave the parking area, which is south of their new driveway entrance. What they're talking about is just between their driveway and the stop sign, it's only about 25 feet. People are actually parking, even though I don't think they can.
Too close to the intersection.
The intersection has to be parking, something like that. So I mean, definitely, you know, I see putting up no parking in the corner. So
Is she saying that car right there is the one?
I believe, yes, because she said, and it was parked where the dot is. So it was parked. It was parked in this area. That's the car she was referring to, it's parked.
It's not near an intersection. I can tell.
It was hard to say with these two cars, it's dark. But no, it doesn't look like there's a road there. So I don't know if the road is here, and this is the part she wants no parking, and that was just a parked car.
Just say the
Makes
requirement
sense
is
to you?
how close to it. That's for 140.
Yeah, but that's not there's no intersection. I see that from the plan.
there's better pictures in the packet.
Yeah, she did.
It's not a very good picture.
That's just the one she sent me this morning. This might help with the sketch she submitted. Not with where that car is, but that's the, so it's this area they want. Right, that part. Yeah.
That makes sense to you, Brian.
Trying to understand what
So the picture showed a car parked there.
is this what she's talking about here?
Yeah, this is, that car's parked there. And here's the intersection here.
So they're asking this to be no parking. How many people she was putting?
It's just this little.
Yeah, it's not very big.
So that strip is this right here.
And so
It's literally like 20.
This can be an extremely congested area to come through at certain times, especially on the weekends. Even
it's just
further,
So it's already really not legal. We've put the sign saying no parking.
Yeah. One side of the parking. One to the driveway. Great choices. A lot of people probably don't realize. Pretty close to downtown.
sure. Second. Other item, under other items, business, 22-672 is the 2023 regular meeting schedule to adopt that. Jeannie, that's.
I
proposed
do,
dates.
yep, they're in the packet. One thing I do want to point out, and we do have this issue every year, our April and June meetings conflict with CPCA meetings. So I don't know if we want to not do,
That's April and June.
yep, April and June. So I don't know if those
So
2
I move
months,
it a week up or back, just so we have something on the books. Sure. Up or back, doesn't matter.
April, let's see.
here's April, here's the month of April.
She's been located.
March 13th.
Clear out the collect area, the point to fly.
Right now.
So normally, yeah. Yes, you could do 6/13 or 27.
13 April.
13 13th.
Whatever make.
June.
Second. Another one week up, so that's we'll just one week up. That's
Okay. But then that you might get into school graduation. Okay, so we're gonna do the 8th of June. Okay.
I'll make a motion. Approved 2023 Groton Road event. So this was a submission from the Parks and Rec Department, correct?
This is just all, I was just gonna list all
Oh,
of them
sure.
that was already approved,
Sure,
since the last meeting. So the Mystic Irish 5K on March 18th, the Mystic Irish Day Parade on March 19th, Good Friday Walk on April 7th, the Ragnar Relay on May 19th, the Hartford Healthcare Mystic Half Marathon and 10K on May 21st, the Noe Memorial Day Parade on May 29th, Toward Knowing, which is a town one, on June 10th, the 4th of July parade on the 4th of July, and the Mohegan Striders, they are coming back for a second year, August 20th. Those are the ones that have been approved so far. And there might be a handful that haven't come in yet.
No other items of business, a motion to adjourn. Second. Favor? Aye. All right, we stand adjourned at 14:09.